so when I started the my journey, I had so much emotions that I didn't know how wonderful I was. Because I think you get into this path of healing this belief system about you. You can't see the purity of you. You can't see the God essence of you. You can't feel it.
They're so hurt because there's so much hurt and nobody talks about their hurt and we all just walk around like fucking exploding. Pretend
Oh, that was
we're
huge for
okay.
me and my family. Like, Aurora, I'm telling you, nobody talked about anything. And it's so interesting that we're talking about this. Not really, but wink, wink, no judge. It's like last night I was thinking, I said, the biggest hurdle in my physical family, my dad's side and my mother's side, is not talking about the trauma. Everybody wants to push it underneath the rug. No, we don't want to upset this one. We don't want to make this one, even to this day. It's still happening. Would they admit to it? No. People don't want to admit to their bullshit. How do I know that? I was a
Guys,
master of it. Yeah, I was a master of not wanting denial,
Yeah.
and just stuffing my heart with beliefs of not worthiness. And the emotions were so strong. That's why I have such an open heart to people that are struggling with addiction, anything, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, addiction. I've been through it all. And people are like, Glenda comes to mind when she's like, you want my job, you can have it. It's not, and I hear that with her. Like, I understand it because it's not like, oh, I've been through it all, so I know. It's no, I've been there. I know what you're going through. I know the emotion that's coming up for you. I know that feeling, that vibration. Let me try to guide you to realize the person you're trusting yourself with has been there. Who else wants to work with somebody that hasn't been there? Would you?
No, not at all, because you can see it all over them.
And that's where the judgment comes in.
And
And
that
you,
was
and
why when I went to go talk to a therapist for, finally I cracked and said, fine, I'll do it. And I ended up with this like girl, again, no judgment, but she just came out of school. She only was reading out of a textbook. And I was like I almost walked out because this is when she told me about the grape and to practice mindfulness and to eat the grape and taste the flavors and feel the explosions. And I was just like, are you kidding me right now? Like, this is what you're telling me? Meanwhile, I've already gone deep into my spiritual journey and my spiritual path and going down into like getting, like not as deep as I am now, obviously, but like at that point in my life, I was like, I've observed my psyche. I've seen how I am. Like I understand. It's just where is this deep sadness coming from? And that was nothing that nobody could tell me anyway. So it wasn't even the fact that, she was a therapist that just came out of school or whatever, because it didn't matter who it was. It just showed me, that not go down that path, that it's not in alignment, that I need to, okay, like I need to just trust this thing inside of me that's saying, you will figure it out one day, you will understand and have to go through it and start making changes. Like we just listened to that recording and it's just such a walk down memory lane because it's like, oh my God, like, do you know how much conscious work went into creating this being that is right here, right now in real time? Like,
yeah,
it wasn't just like, oh, I want my life to be better. I'm just going to keep complaining and complaining and complaining. It was like, holy shit, I complain a lot. I'm really negative. I'm mean to myself. I need to like figure out how to enjoy being in my own company because I don't even want to hang out with myself. Like, which then that led to fucking hanging out with people that I didn't really care how I was treated because it's like, well, whatever, I'm not alone. But I was more alone than I had ever fucking been. So what the hell kind of paradox is that?
I hear you. It's something's coming up to share with you about yesterday, and how our subconscious mind is literally a record player playing on repeat. And I noticed this. So yesterday I had a wonderful day with Charlotte. Like, we cleaned and then we took a bath together, and I was in the bath with her, and I had my legs up and she was hugging my legs and her head was on my leg, and it just brought me back to when I was breastfeeding her,
Hmm.
and she would come into the bath with me and I would breastfeed her in the bath, and it was such an engaging moment. And then my psyche brought me back to the person I was. And I remember saying to myself, you're such a horrible person. You're such a horrible mom. Like, all these things. And yesterday, for the first time, I heard, you're such a beautiful mom.
Aww.
And I'm like, I'm getting choked up even hearing it, because it really does something to your psyche when you're willing to open up your heart and be teachable. And that was something that I was talking about yesterday with a live that I was doing. And I said, it's vulnerability. And once you step into that vulnerability and take responsibility for your part, because we're all here, we all have a part in our life. We don't just sit back and not do anything. We're interacting with other souls. We're engaging in conversations with other people. We're saying yes or no. Like you said, you found yourself hanging out with people that were like, and it brought me back even, yeah, it brings me back to my counseling days. Like, I remember my first counselor, her name was Sarah, and that was the first time I did EMDR. And it's where they give you, and I really think I want to include this in teaching people how to use this with not just the tapping. You just hold these pulses and it makes sense, like, you know, in your hand. And when she would bring me down into my subconscious and pull those emotions out, the vibration would get faster. And
Mm.
it did something you can explain with the narrow programming in my mind. And I was talking to Will, and I was like, wow, that's quantum physics or quantum healing
Yeah.
in EMDR. And that really got me out, because also Sarah had been through the same trauma. So that bond was there energetically, but she wasn't codependent. You know what I mean? She just came, like us, like we come from that space of knowing that trauma, that we could speak and connect to other hearts that way. So
Mhm.
that was an eye opening moment for me when I was talking to Will. And the second counselor, I went 8 years without seeking counseling. And this is when I was like, I was close to 300 pounds, and I was not healthy. And I finally found Charisse, and she did the EMDR. And I remember walking into her room, her office, and saying, I'm done living the life that I've been living up until this moment. And I don't know what I need to do, but I know I need to be here and you need to help me.
Mhm.
And she's like, okay, you're ready, let's do this. And she had me write down things that I would like to accomplish once I did need her, knew that I didn't need her anymore. And it was 10 things. And the day that I moved to Colorado, the week that I was moving to Colorado, I had my last visit with her. And she goes, I want to show you something. And I said, okay. And this was a whole year, every week going to her. Now
Wow.
think about how we can do this with other people with, like, this blows my mind, Aurora. So every Tuesday for a year, throughout the Papa situation, throughout everything. Right before I moved to Colorado, she goes, look at your file. And I opened it up, And every single thing that I said I wanted to accomplish, I did. So
Mhm.
you can imagine what I had to do for when you met me. You met me literally at a higher vibration, and you know what I've done to get here. So it taps on to like, don't come at me with, you have to go through the emotion to be able to be a master of your emotions, to be able to help people realize their
Well,
potential.
and that's just it. Like, there's no quick fix. Like, the fix is you connecting back to you. Like we've said it.
Spirit.
Love in all the wrong places.
Yeah.
Like you got that in me. I don't even know the song, but I know the song because
Yeah.
like that's it. And every time I was in a position of like, what the fuck am I doing here? You'd sing that little doodity to me, and I'd be like, oh my God, yeah, so true. But hey, I gotta go live my life. Bye. Let me go be unconscious. Catch you
Yeah, and
later.
that's it, babe. It's unconscious, conscious, and simplifying that. If people could just,
Honestly, like I used to feel like a guilt around it. Like
yeah,
sometimes, like if I was at Adams, like, and I would like avoid connecting, like with you because I'm like, no, I'm not in alignment with me. And so it's like so interesting,
I love us, babe. I love the fact that soul level we know each other. Like, and that's like digging into that. That's a whole nother layer. But even like knowing that you have that one person, like I could tell you, Aurora, obviously not in my energy that I'm in now, but I just killed somebody. I don't know what to do. I know without a doubt you would be there for me. And and you wouldn't treat me any differently. You know what I mean? There would be no judgment. You wouldn't even, I know that about you. And I know that if I could be that for one person, then honestly I feel fulfilled. I know that I have and there's my heart opening
I was
up.
gonna say, well, congratulations, you have your one person right there.
Exactly, because I know it and I know that's what our bond is. And it's like even cultivating that. You said that earlier, like, okay, when I was going through my shit, you're like, okay, whatever, you do you, I'll do me, and we'll get, and it's like you even helped raise my inner child, is what's coming to me. Isn't that interesting?
Hmm.
To be this adult woman in this frame and take on the world as an adult and not a hurt child. Like that's all it is. It's like hurt people hurting people in adult suits, and they all want to fight.
Yeah.
And I just love the fact that we have this platform where we can be real and be vulnerable and be authentic and take responsibility. And that's that path of that higher awareness, that high priestesses, like it's not just an easy, oh, I took a couple classes and now I know how to read tarot cards. It's so freaking different than what I thought.
Like the universe freaking planted cards in my hands, and then I played with them with myself, and then I was like, hey mom, want a reading? And then I did some massive healing with my mother, and then it just kind of went from there. Like that's how we connected. Hey, let me give you a reading. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
give you one too. Okay. And that was literally like how we started. And that's what I've offered for so many people. Like that's just what I do. I'm more than happy to, but it was interesting stepping into it to feel like the judgments and to feel the people that weren't really into it or that didn't believe it or like felt like, oh, you have to prove it to me for me to believe it. And I never even fed into that. I was like, well, if you don't, like, I can only get as much information as you want to give. So it's really not like, it's
Yeah.
not like I'm not, it's not me. It's not, my belief or that I'm not good enough or that maybe I don't know what I'm doing. It's that you're closed off and you don't want to receive information. So then I'm not receiving information because you don't want me to. So that's the truth of the energy of that. Because when I'm connected with people that are like excited and ready and willing and able and are like, okay, I want to do this, I don't shut up. Then I have people that are like, huh, okay, prove it to me.
Yeah.
Well, anything I say isn't gonna be, it's like me going back to that therapist of like, well, anything that she told me, well, that's not true either. Maybe not anything she told me because I was open going into that. So that's maybe a little bit of a different situation. But, like point is like if you're closed off, then I can't, it's free will, man. Like I can't access your shit if you don't want me to.
Well,
Nor
what
do I want to. I don't wanna know about your shit if you don't, like, I don't, I'm good to not know.
yeah, why? Yeah, it brings up and again, I was thinking about this last night about, I remember I was in like conversations with my sister Kim, and her brother-in-law came through, and he has passed. He had cancer and he passed a couple years ago. And he's like, "Hey, tell Kim, tell the boys to be careful." That's how clear it was. Tell the boys to be careful on the roof. So I texted her and I'm like, I can't remember what I said. Like, oh, Bob's energy came in, and he's like, just tell the boys to be careful on the roof. And she messaged me back and she's like, I know your heart's in the right place, but I don't believe in that. Well, Stephen fell off the roof that day. She knows it, but it's like you're making a point. Like if you don't believe it, then you're not, why waste this precious energy? And it's teaching me something. Like it's not me, obviously not me, but I couldn't even see that it wasn't me. Even back then when she said that to me, I was still, my little heart was like, oh,
I mean,
maybe
like,
I'm,
in the situation, I didn't have that clarity, but I still
yeah,
had that knowing of, like,
yeah.
well, like, I would just be open and say, "I'm not getting any information." And then I roll. Like, yeah, exactly. You got what you wanted. You manifested it.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Now I
Yeah.
can go freaking blow people's minds with the information I have for them.
And then you get these others that are so open and their heart is so open, and it's so easy to tap into that consciousness of what they need to see. And like you said it the other day, all people want to know is everything's going to be okay, even if it's a past loved one, right?
That's the
Yeah.
energy.
Yep. It's beautiful.
It's true though. Like, I don't hold this faith, like, I believe it. I know we're gonna be okay, like that's why for me to like say that to people and to hold this frequency and to offer that support and that love and that comfort is because I really feel it and I know it and I believe it.
Yep.
But it's not like a blind faith. It's not like, oh, I just like, I'm not grasping. Like, it's not like coming from a place of lack. It's coming from a place of knowing, of like, I see it. I know why I'm here. I know why we're here. I know that we're here to raise consciousness for humanity and anchor in higher timelines. And then we fuck off to the next part of our journey, and humans get to do whatever the fuck they want to do. And that's it. So it's really just like, coming in, helping where you can, and that's really it. Like it doesn't need to be personal. It doesn't need to be, but if it is, then you got shit to work through. But like it doesn't have to be personal. Like when those people didn't resonate, like I know I'm in the middle of like Wyoming, Ontario, where there's a bunch of farmers and they live back in the retro day of the freaking grocery store closes at 6 o'clock. Like what the heck, so like I know the energy and the consciousness that I'm interacting with. So the fact that 6 out of 7 or 8 people were interested in what I had to offer, I wasn't going to let that 1 or 2 people like cool. Like, oh, it's cool, like I know the level of consciousness and I just choose to not. But that doesn't mean my little heart wasn't going and that I wasn't fucking sweating and I didn't have all these things going in my head and my self-worth wasn't played with. And like I just knew I had this knowing below all of that stuff.
Me too. And it's like comforting to hear you say that, because those are all that was starting out with this, and really connecting to myself and getting all these messages and things that I haven't thought for in years. And then I'm like, oh, okay, so that was in my subconscious. Let me see what's going on. And I've noticed when things come up now, I hear myself say, it's okay, it's just coming through. acknowledge it, breathe, and then it's gone, and it's like, oh, you know,
Like I call you or somebody's there to, or Will calls you or something happens to shift it because you're not
yeah,
staying stuck in it. And
yep,
even just by like having a conscious awareness, like, and this was like me the other day when I was not able to sleep. Like 10 o'clock came and Kyle was like out like a light, and I'm like staring at the wall, like in my shit, like just like, what the heck? So I got up and went and sat in another room and just like sat there. And then I have my cards and stuff. So then I was guided to do that, but I didn't even go into the room to do anything. I just wanted to sit there, and if I needed to cry, I didn't need to feel like I was like gonna wake him up,
yep.
whatever. I just went into my own space, and then I ended up being guided to pull some cards, and then I did, process some stuff. And then I was guided to an EA video. So I laid on the floor and I like curled up and I like watched that for half an hour. And then like that, just doing those few little things, like I sat with it, I processed what I need, and then I was able to come back and lay in bed. It was like 12:30 at that point, and I just had a little cry of gratitude, cuddling into Kyle, and then went to bed, you know? And then when I woke up in the morning, I felt so much better.
It really
Because
is.
all it was like, honestly, like, holy shit, like, can I really surrender? Like, am I really safe? Like, is everything really okay? And it's like, yeah, it is. So it's like that hurt part of me, like is doing its last mendings, its last little coming
Yes,
together.
yes.
And that's what's going on, is like, okay, cool. So now I'm here, and I am safe, and it is only, forward and expansion movement. Like, yeah, I'm still human. I'm still going to feel my feelings. I'm still going to have to go through life and death and grief and sadness and probably not despair. Honestly, I feel like I've overcome a lot of all of those dancers. So I don't feel like I will have to, like, the lack and the scarcity, things like that. That's that closing of the wounds, is like, okay, so
No.
maybe I'll still feel anger and sadness and the basic ones, but not these like deeper rooted of like lack and scarcity and poverty and like being alone or whatever, because I'm not alone. And even spiritually, I've never been alone, even though I physically felt alone. Like in this lifetime, I'm reclaiming all of that. I'm like, oh wow, I've actually never been alone. Like, especially when I look back and reflect on my Australia trip, that's like bing, bang, boom. Like, everywhere is like synchronicity, somebody helping me, something showing up to get me to where I need to be, or whatever. But in the moment, I didn't notice it. But now I look and I'm like, holy, like that little 19-year-old girl had it in the bag and she had no idea. Like, she was like freaking out the whole time.
Yep,
So
yep,
funny.
yep. I hear you, babe. It's that higher perspective. Like you see it for what it is. That's why I get so excited. Like when I see things that I used to be triggered about, and then I'm like, oh, how did I get that feeling of feeling like, oh, seeing the positive of it, not a phony positive, like, oh, I'm trying to feel positive. It's like, really, like, this is the broader perspective, like I was saying, with
Let's tap on that. That
because it
false
is,
positivity, because that's suppression.
yeah.
Like,
And
because
that's
that's
that,
literally like, I don't want to feel my feelings, so I'm gonna just say everything's so that's what I'm saying. I'm not like that. Everything's gonna be okay. It's okay. It's okay. Like, meanwhile, you're ready to crack. I'm like, no, like, I'm strong. I'm stable. I have my foundation. Like, seriously, guys, everything's gonna be okay. The only thing that's not okay right now is that you're trapped in your body, and we need to get you integrated
yeah,
into your body instead of
body,
constantly trying to get out of your body. Let's anchor it in. That's the only thing that makes you feel like you're not okay, is when you're out of your body, when you're dissociated. Like, we're here in this physical to be in the physical, like not to be up in the air. Like people that are going and meditating in mountains, great, beautiful. Like, thank you for anchoring that frequency. But right here, right now, we're not going to change society if nobody's like stepping up and learning how to integrate like this fucked up, like you say, cesspool of shit,
Yeah.
if nobody's filtering that out, like if nobody's saying this is not okay, I'm gonna do this to change, I'm gonna, and it, not externally, just internally, just like, whoa, like I'm not gonna do that, I'm gonna choose no, I'm not gonna do that, I'm not gonna do that. And then as you stop feeding your energy into all these different things, like when you used to go live all the time and you had no idea like how much that was draining you, and even you realized after, but now you really understand. Like there was a moment after where I explained it and you were like, "Oh yeah, okay, I can get that." But I could tell it wasn't like in. Now you're like, "Holy shit, Aurora." Like,
I only
oh,
go when I am in it and I'm like, know that I want to. And Catherine talked about this yesterday. Again, little God wink there. Not going and doing things, like I said, even work wise, but especially tapping into channeling. If your emotions are not mastered and you go into channel and you don't know boundaries and you don't know discernment and you don't know how to get your yes or no, your truth or false. I mean, I'm learning all this stuff and I'm like, holy shit, I was wide open. And it's like I didn't know what I didn't know. That's all I keep hearing. And it's so funny because I remember one of the things that my mom has taught me, and it comes up every single time when I tap into the religious aspect of Jesus dying on the cross. Look how disempowering that is. Look how disempowering crucifixion is.
well, yeah, but also it was the age of the Piscean age. So
Right. Well,
I know
the
I'm
one
in my higher awareness, but
the one thing that no, it's beautiful. The one thing that comes to my mind is he looked to his left and he looked to his right and he said, "Forgive them, Father, they do not know." And that's all I can hear is that's what keeps me in compassion, Aurora.
yeah.
And it's like people need to know that frequency is you're able to be attuned to it if you just let go of the lower vibrations that you're holding on to. That's the only way I can
Choose
like
love.
choose love. Right. And then like I used to get so pissed. Like even yesterday and Catherine was talking about, if you're not emotionally mastered, and I'm like, it's so true. But I had that little like discerning moment, like, am I hearing this because I'm not emotionally mastered? And then, my higher self kicked in and was like, no, she's just explaining what she
And then
knows.
it's showing you that you're not emotionally mastered.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, what is
Like,
mine?
oh my god, did that bitch just trigger something in me? Like maybe an emotion that I haven't mastered?
Yeah,
How dare she?
exactly. But then right after that, she's like, I can tell you that I don't work well with women. She said, for the longest time, I had this control and I'm still working on my control. So I'm like, okay, I'm feeling her energy. And the discernment was so beautiful, Aurora, because I did get that, like, oh, is she telling me something that I got the energy of what Ange used to do to me,
Hmm.
but totally different. Angela does it. I wholeheartedly know consciously or not consciously, she does it to keep people in control underneath her. And Catherine, I was tapping into her energy, and then I just saw above it, like the highest perspective, like I was triggered. Is it still something there for me? No, it isn't, because I don't go online or connect with anybody if I'm in that emotional distress. And I'm just not anymore. Going back to you, like I had my Monday and then my whole week has been amazing. But it took me being vulnerable, speaking my truth, trying, and having you guys help me. People, it's like they don't want help. They can't, they
That
don't.
well, that's what we learned on Monday, was to ask for our needs to be met. I woke up in the morning
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh Kyle, I really need a heating pad. I'm gonna get my period. I just want to have it. I know I've been trying to like not have it, but why the fuck not just have it? So can you please drive me before you go to work? Yeah, no worries. Go to Walmart, get my shit. Or I could have like been like in my shit like a month
Oh,
ago. I couldn't figure out like where the freaking thermostat in the place was. And so I text Kyle and I was like, oh my God, I'm so fucking cold. And he's like, oh, well, why don't you turn the heat on? And I was like, well, where's the thermostat? I've been like, I looked, I can't find it. And he tells me where it is. And then I'm sitting there like laughing at myself because I'm like, I didn't even think to ask Kyle. I looked for the thermostat. I was like, where the fuck is it? Like, I even thought about like, how can I turn this fireplace on? I'm freezing. But I didn't think to say, hey, Kyle, where's the thermostat?
I did that today. I got off the phone with a lawyer. I felt his energy. I said, I'm feeling pissed right now. I called Will and I'm like, babe, I'm just feeling all kinds of emotion. I'm just really pissy. And I know that this guy's being a prick. Like, oh, of course you want to, like, I got it all. And if I wasn't in discernment, I would have still been there. But I felt his energy. And
Mm-hmm.
now it's gone. And it's like, Will, I immediately called Will. I've never called Will to calm me down. In a rage, like the old self, I would call and be like, you need to come fucking home and I can't fucking deal with this and I'm just feel like I want to die. But I've never been in a healthy space, know that I'm feeling something and knowing that he can help me. It's so fucking beautiful. Choose love. Choose love.
I love it. Choose love. Okay, let's wrap this up.
All right, babe.
And then we'll go back behind the scenes.
Listen,
let's just do a little shameless little promo here for Heidi and I. This is us behind the scenes, intuitively allowing whatever to flow. You saw me, I was laying on the bed. I obviously was not planning on recording anything, but we decided we just want to step up and show people because we know the power of our behind the scenes talk, and Chelsea's now coming in and it's just beautiful. So yeah, Heidi, give your little 2 cents.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so humbled, actually. We talk about being humbled and being, aligned with our higher self and just really wanting to show people that it's doable. Like you can be in the most traumatic experience, and I'm not trying to dismiss anybody, but it's really important to be vulnerable and be authentic. And I think we showed it this way. Like we didn't have the setup. You were laying down, like you said, and that's where I want other people to really tap into their heart and know that we're here to help. It's not that we feel like you can't do it yourself. We're actually saying we can help you to be empowered to take your power back. I'm so blessed.
Bring a conscious awareness to it, like we're just shooting the shit, we're just talking, we're just flowing from our heart space, and anybody can watch this, anybody can see it, and just it's from our highest perspectives, and this is just us talking and processing and understanding, and this is kind of our first little pod of new earth that we've created, so we're just wanting to expand it and grow it and allow people the space to be able to speak their truth and open up authentically, but also mainly take responsibility so that we can all just enjoy our own energies and the co-collaboration and the love that overflows, so that when we see somebody hurting, we don't turn and pretend like we don't see it because we don't know how to support them. It's like, oh my God, hi, I see that you're not okay. Can I support you? And it be something where the person really can trust you and reach their hand out and get the support. That's my goal. My heart goal. Awesome. Okay, let's see what card wants to come through. This is so fun.
Energy Oracle card. From where are you pulling from?
Oh, the Sacred Rebels Oracle. This is Kyle's deck. Oh wait, it's upside down. Look at that, babe.
Love it.
Another crone, High Priestess. Okay. Yeah. What do we got to say for the collective? What do you want to hear right now?
I pulled Caring Connections, and this is exactly, look at that.
Got the cover.
Yeah.
And Inner Trust. Give your little 2 cents and I'll go mine, and then we'll
right. So this is just wraps up what we're talking about. Caring Connections. It's about connecting with your heart space and then connecting with others that have that same intentions of just having a peaceful world and choosing love. What did you get, babes?
Okay. So I got Legacy of Light, and this is the front cover. So check it. Maiden Mother Crone, the Trimurti right here. Okay, all unifying into one. And this is what I explained earlier about. Okay, real quick, I was seeing the timeline, like. So it's like the past, remember all the timelines that I was saying? So we have like all our past timelines, we have like this now moment, and we have the future timelines, and we're unraveling these as we move forward.
Yep.
So it's just this beautiful, and I see it in like a spiral. So anyway, that I just needed to so that's what I see with that. And honestly, kind of like this.
Yeah,
You know,
babe.
like
Oh yeah.
I see it.
Yep.
So yeah, that's kind of what I see with that. And then inner trust.
Yeah.
So like Sam, that's what we were talking about. And look, it looks kind of like Magdalene here, like the feminine. But yeah, so trusting in, you know, the child, even, you know, like we're all here for the children, which is us. We are the children. So, you know, like, yeah, it's so beautiful. I love it. Inner trust. Okay, one more.
Mary Magdalene,
In
that picture.
the world, not of the world. That's what I thought. Love it. Like I said, we're just here popping in, helping to raise consciousness, and that's it. And then we go off onto our another soul journey.
Last card, door to value. Open it up. Open it up. Thank you for listening.
Close with some ohms.
Yeah, want to?
We so we're gonna inhale, exhale, and on our second inhale, we om. Okay.
Perfect.
Bring your palms together in your chest. Take a nice deep breath in. Let it out. And on our next inhale, om. Inhale. And last one, inhale. Just take another deep breath in and feel your heart space open. Feel your heart connected. Bow your forehead to the top of your fingers. Bow to your higher self, my higher self. All of us here. Namaste.
Namaste.
I'm ready for a new earth, guys. We're doing it!
Perfect. Mwah.